town stands desolate and empty, surrounded by a barbed wire fence. The people of Famagusta fled their homes on August 14, 1974, to escape bombing raids by the Turkish Air Force, most of them taking only the clothes they were wearing, in the belief that they'd be returning once the air raids stopped. 23 years later, they're still waiting to go home. Every year they gather at the buffer zone in Verinya, from where they can look across to their empty houses, some of them close enough to see now tattered curtains billowing in open windows. It's always been assumed that the people of Famagusta would be the first to return, as the town has never been settled by the Turks. But so far there's been no movement towards this, despite calls from the international community that Famagusta should be handed back to its original residents as a gesture of goodwill.
Well, with us in the studio now is one of the former mayors of Famagusta, Mr. Prodromos Papavassiliou. And Mr. Papavassiliou, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
I assume that you can remember very clearly what you were doing 23 years ago today. Could you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. It's very difficult. But this day, today, in the morning, having passed the evening in Parlimni, accompanied by my brother, I visited Famagusta. I went back to Famagusta.
You went back in, yeah.
I wanted to see what was happening, and what I saw was something terrible. Fires in many parts of the town, especially in and by the Evagora Street, where the CETA offices were. Further down, fires by late Mr. Marangos stores, and further down by our municipality, another fire. I wanted to see what was going on. And you could see an undefended town being hit by bombs dropped by planes, by fire brought by ships, and by fire from the walls of the ancient city. It was really something unbelievable for us. We are not used to such things, especially. So my idea was to pay a visit to my office. I did do that, and I was stupid enough. I visited the office, I opened, I examined, everything was okay. I did not manage to open my safe and get money that I had there, or my passport, or even my private personal file. I went to see how our hospital, which was then at Marcos Hotel, was doing. They transferred the patients from the Famagusta Hospital to Marcos Hotel. I came around to see how our civil defense people were doing, and I remember there was just one man there, and he asked me what I'm going to do, and I said, just wait for your instructions from your boss.
You said that you didn't even stop to take money, which you could have done. Yes. I mean, obviously nobody thought that they had left the town for the last time.
Surely.
Sometimes we hear stories nowadays and people say, well, if the people had not left, then there would not have been this empty, undefended town, as you said, for the Turks to go into. But was it really realistic to expect people to stay under these conditions?
I must tell you, and I must repeat it, because I repeated it many times. We did not believe that we were going out to stay out more than an evening or a day. We went out because our women folk and our people, young children, should be saved from all this bombing that was going on. And we never believed that in this world, 1924, we might be kept out of home. So this is a feeling that I must express it very openly. The most unfortunate thing is that the town has been left by itself our army, our National Guard people evacuated the area. They should have stayed there. Our police evacuated the town. Our civil authorities evacuated the town, and we belonged to the town officials as well.
Yes.
We had to go. We had to go. We were perhaps the last to go, and we were very, very sorry that we were going. But people who say that you should stay, they should think of the psychological position of the Famagusta inhabitants, and especially of the fact that we were feeling that going away to take protection for our people and for ourselves, women, and for ourselves, we are going to come back. This is it.
So many times, I think perhaps because it's the only place in Turkish-occupied Cyprus that has not been settled by the Turks, because it's remained empty.
Yes.
So many times the people of Famagusta have had their hopes raised that
Yes.
they will be able to
Yes.
go home. We've
Yes.
expected Famagusta
Yes.
to be handed back
Yes.
as a gesture of goodwill on so many occasions.
Yes.
What effect has that had on the
Yes.
people of Famagusta?
I will tell you, but before replying this, Mrs. Ladomadas, I should perhaps mention that before leaving the town, I went to my home and I wanted to report to our government what was going on. And I found, it was then Mr. Xanthos Klididis, the acting president of the Republic. Mr. Klavkos Klididis was not yet back. Mr. Xanthos Klididis happened to serve together with me in the same tent during last war. And I explained to him of how an undefended town was hit, and how I requested he should request the United Nations to stop, to ask these people, Turkish people, to stop bombing and destroying the town, an undefended town. And I even mentioned, and this looks how naive, I said also, think the town is empty, maybe you ask these United Nations people to look after looters. He cried on that line, on one line, and I cried on this line. But I wanted to say, to underline the fact that we were caring of an undefended city. And perhaps I should mention a bit more.
Please do.
That you remember our famous painter, Paul Georgiou.
Yes.
His brother-in-law was sick, Dr. Finievs, and his wife was looking after him, and his sister-in-law, Elenko, was there. I thought of going and seeing what was happening to them, because being sick, and it's good luck that they went there, they had to be evacuated. And it was good luck that by the Marcos Hotel, a little jeep with our soldiers was there, and they were very kind. They took care of Dr. Finievs, late Dr. Finievs now, and laid his wife and laid his sister and sister-in-law Elenko. They were brought to the British military hospital in the Kelia. So that was my last, let's say, visit to Famagusta. Now about this, what you say.
Yes, the preparations to go back so many times.
First of all, we have been told, and this replies to the idea that the Turks did not intend to keep the town. We've been told on the 17th that, or perhaps the 16th, the CPC may have the records, that people of Famagusta may now report to the Agios Memnon police station. And some 2,000 of us managed to go there and went over to their houses. What happened, you know. They have been arrested, and the town was already in the Turkish, the people have been arrested. The old ones and the women and children were let free. Cars have been confiscated, but the young people were taken prisoners. So this replies to those people who say, and unfortunately say it, I heard it tonight, that the Turks did not have intention to take over Famagusta. If they did not have intention to take over Famagusta, why did not they let people go to visit Famagusta, to visit the houses, take what they wanted and be free, or stay there? And they just arrested them, they took them prisoners, and some of them have been killed. And you know of the records that the number of these people who have killed. Now, I come to your question, Mrs. Ladomatos. It's true. Many times our people have been encouraged, you do it tomorrow, because we managed, and we, when I say we, because of our interference too, the British had interest there, and they wanted to keep a part of the town. 15% is not much, because people, when we speak of Famagusta, they feel that the whole of Famagusta is not uninhabited. Just a little bit, 15% of the land of our town, but the heart, our heart, the town which was there, our municipality, our markets, our schools, our hotels, most of our gardens in that area. But this is not all. So we managed to keep this place uninhabited. The Turks wanted to inhabit it. And we know, if you look, and I have here the resolutions, they wanted to inhabit this place. We managed to keep it uninhabited, this little part. And they, for their own reasons, and we, for our own reasons, we wanted to keep an unoccupied part, because this is our hope. And for them too, if they agreed that this piece, the uninhabited parts, goes back to their legal inhabitants, might be the window opening the way to talks, so that the two communities, by creating, let's say, better understanding, would perhaps then, when we speak of 1975, create better conditions for our country.
Finally, Mr. Papavassiliou, despite everything that the people of Famagusta have been through, many would say that they are, to a large extent, responsible for the so-called economic miracle that took place in Cyprus after '74. And I think it's fair to say, I mean, and it's to their credit, that they seem to have come through this period of 23 years very well. What do you say about that?
Mr. Vickers, of course we worked hard. Everybody worked hard. In that way, every refugee must be congratulated, because instead of opening our hand to beg for a little bit of assistance, we worked. And through hard work, we created. This is true. We did, Famagusta people, Karinia people too, all the Marfu people too, all of us, all the refugees work hard, because we thought that this is the only way to keep a state going. And those who are fair will admit that it is because of the excellent way, excellent behavior of the refugees that we have a state today. Because if we then, and we had such suggestions, we said, we lost our land, we lost our houses, now let's go to the other people's houses and let's share. I had the privilege of being a member of the refugee committees from the first days, and we said, no. We work, we stay in tents, we stay here, we stay under trees, but we are not going to follow this silly idea of getting into other people's homes. And we follow this, what you say, brought to me. But also, Mr. Vickers, you must appreciate that Famagusta, and I do not boast, we were at least by 10 to 20 years ahead of the other towns. We had the know-how. We knew how to work, how to make money. We had the port, which helped us. We had the hotels, which helped us through tourism. We had the orange groves that helped us. We knew how to cultivate the earth, and we knew how to work hard in Cyprus and abroad. And many of us went abroad to make a little bit of money, including myself. But this is exactly a reply to what Cypriot people, and I must not say that the other people who are not refugees did not work. All of us worked.
Of course.
All of us worked.
Well, let's hope that we're still hoping for a return to Famagusta.
We will return, Mr. Vickers.
Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you very much. Just, I want to give a message, a very clear message, that in spite of these hard times, in spite of these difficulties, in spite of this Turkish terrible way of thinking, we will go back. There is no other way, because 1997 to 1998, no way back. We must go back to Famagusta and the other places as well.
We'll second that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You may think that an egg is just an egg.
Splitting headache.
It's not working.
You big baby. Just blanks. Would I go through all this trouble tonight just to kill you? No, Max. I have an entirely other purpose. I'm ready, Max. I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend, to re-emerge. With your help, your know-how, your savvy. I wasn't born in the sewer, you know. I come from, like you. And like you, I want some respect. A recognition of my basic humanity. But most of all, I want to find out who I am. By finding my parents, learning my human name. Simple stuff that the good people of Gotham take for granted.
And exactly why am I gonna help you?
Well, let's start. What have we here? A batch of toxic waste from your clean textile plant. There's a whole lagoon of this crud in the back.
That could have come from anywhere.
What about the documents that prove you won't have the fire traps in Gotham City?
If there were such documents,